You've been told your entire life that the way that you get what you want is to try harder. And I'm going to tell you something that's going to sound counterintuitive, maybe even dangerous. Trying is the thing that's blocking you. Not laziness, not lack of desire, not the universe ignoring you. The act of trying. You have the tension, the desperation, the needing to have the grip on the outcome. That is the wall between you and what you want. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why that happens. The 3 specific ways that you're doing this without realizing it. And a 5-step method to shift from forcing reality to allowing it to move. Let's go back to the board, and I want to break this down in terms of what trying is, in terms of what does it equal, and what is allowing equal. So here's the thing, you're essentially having the opposite effect. When you're consistently trying, you are telling the universe, right, that you don't have it. Okay? And then when you are allowing it to happen, you're telling the universe that it's already mine. Okay? This is the most important component here. You keep trying, you keep causing the friction, the tension, which is telling the world, which is telling the universe that you don't have it in terms of you as an identity, you as an individual, the version of you that's trying to collapse a certain timeline or trying to get into a certain specific outcome or goal that you want to achieve. Even though it all starts with the identity, this is telling the universe that you don't already have your specific desire, okay? Because it first needs to manifest itself in your mind. We talk about the 2 sides of the manifestation with the feminine and the masculine. You need to have the vision, you need to have the intuition, the creativity, okay? And then you need to have the logic, the structure in terms of thinking about it from the masculine in the sense of execution, okay? The physical manifestation of it, because you're executing, you're taking action, you're changing your behavior. Now, when you are coming from the trying aspect, that is telling your entire body, your nervous system, internally, you as an identity, that you are somebody who doesn't have whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, right? Your desired reality. If you are trying to make money and you don't see yourself as somebody who already has money and allows money to come to him or to her, then you're going to be trying to make money, and then you're going to be sabotaging yourself because you internally are not just allowing it. Because if you were allowing it, then you wouldn't be trying so hard, and there wouldn't be a whole lot of friction and resistance of maybe staying up late every single night, trying to, grind and hustle and push harder and, do more stuff that may not even be productive, but just the act of doing stuff and doing more, you think to yourself, and then you convince yourself that you're actually getting progress and you're moving forward, when actually you're fighting against your own allowing, so that it could actually manifest itself without you having the friction and the resistance there, right? You need to have it in your mind in terms of it's already done, right? This is just like you going over a specific obstacle or a speed bump, right? Like you see your destination, you see your goal, you see your outcome, the current life, the specific life and version of you that already has that you want, right? And so you act and embody that. And then now every time that you see an obstacle or a challenge, it's just a simple little roadblock. Like for you, you're never deterred, because why would you be deterred if you already know that that outcome is already there? Like it's a done deal. Like I'm going to achieve my outcome, my goal, right? Whatever that is, whatever that manifestation truly is. And then when you can think like that and think from that, then you're naturally allowing it to happen in the physical, because internal, you already know that you have it. And now it just needs to physically manifest itself in the external world. And so for both of these, let's outline how these are actually laid out in terms of what is the process that you're going through when you are trying and when you are allowing. So the first one here is trying, okay? When you're trying, you have tension, resistance, which then creates delay, okay? Because you're trying so hard to get something done. You're putting in extra hours. You are doing all these physical tasks that may not even be productive or conducive to you moving to your destination, to your reality. It's almost like you're just doing busy work, right? Because there's no alignment here. You're trying so hard versus you're allowing, okay? You're seeing little speed bumps, little challenges. It's just minor little inconveniences because they're just something to walk through, walk over, walk around to get to your final destination, right? So this is the trusting. This is from moving from alignment, okay? And then finally, this is for the receiving, where you're actually getting what you want. Like your mental state, your mental attitude, which should be a mental positive attitude naturally, right? In terms of you being stable, you should be very even keel. You should be, grateful for every single day. You should be confident in yourself. You should be thankful that you're alive and well, and all these different things that you should be having as a baseline state. Like, I'm genuinely optimistic and positive about the outlook of the world, right? And about myself, which allows you to allow, right? You're allowing it with your trust, with your alignment, and then you're open to receiving it. Now, let me show you what trying actually looks like in practice, because most people don't realize that they're actually doing it. So let's go over the 3 forms of trying. Let's erase the board here. Okay, so we have the 3 forms of trying. Number 1 is the mental. Number 2 is the emotional. And then number 3 is the identity. So these are the 3 ways that people try to force manifestations. And most people are doing all 3 simultaneously and wondering why nothing is working. So let's go into number 1. This is the mental. And so this is the micromanager. Okay? Now, this is the most common one. And let me paint you a picture of what this looks like. Let's say there's a woman who decides to start her own business. Let's call her Maria. She's clear on her vision. She writes it down. She visualizes it. She feels it. So it's all good so far, right? But then her mind takes over. Monday comes around and she says, how is this even going to happen? I don't have enough in savings. And then Tuesday comes along and she says, maybe I should wait until the economy improves. And then Wednesday comes and she says, man, what if I just am not picking the right niche? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? And here comes Thursday and it's 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. And she's Googling why most businesses fail, almost like already thinking that her business is going to fail. And then finally, Friday comes, and then she's back on LinkedIn updating her resume. And it's not because she wants to. It's because the mental noise convinced her that it's more realistic. She didn't lose the desire. She lost the trust. Her mind became the micromanager of the universe, trying to control the how, the when, the where, and the what if. And then all that mental effort created so much noise that she couldn't hear the actual opportunities knocking. But here's what she missed. You see, the following week, a friend of hers was going to introduce her to an investor, but she canceled the event because she was so stressed from overthinking. The opportunity was already in motion, but her mental trying blocked her from seeing it. Ask yourself, honestly, how many hours a week do you spend mentally managing how your manifestation is supposed to arrive? That's not alignment, that's interference. Because your manifestation can come in a variety of different ways. And when you're very stuck and bent on the fact that it needs to manifest exactly A, B, C, precisely how you want it to, you're going to miss all the other things that are happening, because it's never really going to be an exact way that you achieve whatever manifestation that you want, right? Let's say you want to have a manifestation be accomplished that you want to make $10,000 a month and you want to be a successful entrepreneur, right? Well, you're getting specific and you're getting right in line with what you want, but that may take you a few different directions. It may be you having to go out and network. It may be you having to go out and reach out to people directly through maybe a cold email. Maybe you have to run some ads, right? Whatever that may be, it's going to be something that is going to come through a variety of different ways. And when you're pigeonholed yourself to, my manifestation needs to land exactly like this, like A, B, and C. And if it doesn't happen exactly like that, then I failed. But that's not the case. You're trying, you're not allowing. Let's go over number 2, the emotional trying, okay? This is the fake frequency, okay? This is where you are someone who has watched a lot of different law of attraction videos, and you know that whole process where you got to feel the emotions, you got to outline the vision, you got to look at exactly what you want to accomplish, you want to write it down, you want to revisit it every morning, you want to do affirmations, all of the things that you need to do that are just one half, that are the feminine aspect, right? But then underneath all of that, you are operating within fear, uncertainty, doubt, scarcity, and it's all there running underneath the system. Think about it this way, and I want to visualize this for you. So you have a tier or something, let's say above the surface, okay? So you have above the surface, under surface, okay? What does the surface say? This is where you feel abundant, okay? Let's say you have the feeling that you're wealthy, that you're going through the affirmations, all of that. And then under the surface, what's really driving the bus, so to speak, is please work because I'm scared that it won't, okay? And so essentially what you're doing is this surface level here, that in terms of you wanting to feel a certain way, abundant, wealthy, successful, whatever that may be, this under the surface is what's blocking this, because you're trying here. You're thinking that it's not actually going to happen. You're questioning yourself. What if this? What if that? Versus taking action, and all of these little minor inconveniences that you are going through along the way are just that, just little minor inconveniences that are in the way of your manifestation. That is already done. That's already there, right? It's already in existence. It hasn't manifested itself physically yet, but you're working towards it, right? And so it's already done. So that allows you to actually allow for things to happen to you and for you. Because if you're in the state of mind of, this is never going to work, I don't think it's going to work, and you're going to keep trying, and you're going to keep trying, and you're going to keep failing because you're not allowing. And let me give you an example. So let's say you have somebody who is trying to manifest a relationship. Let's call him John. So he's writing in his journal different affirmations that I am loved, I am worthy of love, love flows to me naturally and easily. But then after he does that, he checks his phone and he sees no messages. And then his stomach drops. He opens up the dating app and the different dating apps, and he's not seeing anybody reaching out to him, nobody liking his pictures, nobody messaging him. And so then he's scrolling and swiping aimlessly for 45 minutes. And then the next day, he does the same thing all over again. He's journaling, but then he goes on his phone and looks for different matches and doesn't find them. So it's this constant loop of affirming things, but then doing the opposite. Because the journaling says abundance, but then the doom scrolling on the dating apps is saying that there's lack. And so with all of that, what signal do you think reality is reading? And so the fix here with emotions is not to force positive emotions. The fix here is to first get neutral, because you first have to get a standard, natural, neutral baseline so that you can actually move and maneuver and become aware of what you need to do. Okay, so let's go over number 3 now. This is the identity trying. So this is where you're chasing your future self. Okay? This is the deepest form of trying. And this is what most manifestation teachers, and it's what most people in general completely miss. Identity trying is when you're saying, I need to become my future self. I'm working on becoming that person. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer. Listen to the language. I'm not there yet. I'm getting closer. I'm trying. Every one of those phrases confirms one thing to your operating system. I am not that person right now. And as long as your identity says, I'm not that person, your reality is going to naturally reflect someone who is not that person. Let me give you the clearest example of this. 2 people are building YouTube channels in the same niche, in the same market, same starting point. Person A says, I'm trying to become a successful creator. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. I hope it pays off eventually. Now, that right there should tell you everything you need to know, that he is not already seeing himself as a successful creator. And then person B says, I'm a successful creator. This is what I do. The audience is coming. My views are starting to catch up with more volume that I put out, because it all comes down to consistency, right? Because I already see myself as a successful creator. That's who I am. And so now I already know that it's just a matter of time. And so when you look at this, you realize that person A is operating from inspiration, aspiration. And then person B is operating from identity. I am a successful creator. Person A is chasing a future version of themselves. And then person B is already the future version of themselves in this timeline. And so now when person A hits a bad month, low views, no growth, then they begin to spiral and have doubts. And they say, see, I knew I wasn't ready, because their identity was conditioned on results. And with no results, the identity collapses. When person B hits the same exact month, they just shrug it off, because they understand that it's all just part of the process. The work is the signal, and the algorithm will catch up. And their identity isn't threatened because it wasn't built on external validation. It was built on internal knowing. That's the difference between chasing your future self and remembering your future self. So don't chase your future self. Simply remember them, know them, have certainty into what that already looks like, and then embody that. Because ultimately, this all comes down to where you cannot try to become your future self through action, through effort. You step into them through your identity, present tense. Not I'm going to, or I'm going to be, it's I am. So now you see the 3 traps: mental micromanaging, emotional fakeness, and identity chasing. All 3 create the same outcome, which is resistance. The signal that you're sending is I don't have it. And so reality reflects that back to you. So what's the alternative? What does allowing actually look like as a state? It looks like these 3 things. So you have the allowing, okay, equals neutrality plus trust plus identity alignment. Okay, this is what allowing looks like. So you have the neutrality. This is where you're not desperate for anything, right? You're like very neutral. You're very even keel. Like, you know what you want to accomplish. You know the process. It's going to take some work. You know you're going to experience setbacks. You're going to experience challenges, obstacles. But you're just like, you know, whatever. I'm going to get through it, right? So you're very neutral. You don't let things deter you. You don't get too high. You don't get too low. You stay on the mission, right? Regardless of how you feel. And then you trust, right? Like, you know that it's already done. Like, in your mind, you already see it. You already see the end outcome, right? That experience, that event, whatever that you want to manifest, like, you already see it as a done deal, and you trust in that process. And then the identity alignment, you are already embodying that future version of you, right? In the now, in terms of I am that person right here, right now, and I'm acting accordingly. And when these three things click here, in terms of you being neutral, you trusting in the process, and then you aligning your identity, right? Then all of this becomes something that you naturally allow to happen for you, because you are not trying to make this happen. You are allowing it to happen for you and through you. So now what I want to walk through is I want to walk through a method to show you how to get there, how to actually make this happen. And I call this the A.L.L.O.W method. And so I'm going to go ahead and erase the board here, and we're going to walk through the A.L.L.O.W method. Okay, so the A.L.L.O.W method and this is an acronym here. So, okay. So this is broken down like this: A.L.L.O.W. Okay. And so this is a 5-step method that allows you to shift from trying to allowing. And so let's walk through each one of these individually. So step 1, this is the A. You want to acknowledge the desire. So acknowledge your actual desire here, and just acknowledge this one time, and that's it. And then let it go, because you don't want to obsess over this. And this is really important here, because a lot of people here, just let go, and they think that it means that you stop wanting. That's not what this is. You don't kill the desire, you clarify it, and then you release your grip of it. Think of it like placing an order at a restaurant. You look at the menu, you look at the items that are on the menu, and you make a decision, and you're going to get, let's say, chicken, or you're going to get a steak, okay? And so you have decided that you're going to get, let's say, a ribeye steak. And so now when the waiter comes back, you give them the order, and then you continue on what you were doing, right? Like, you're not going to go and follow them in the kitchen to make sure that they're doing it right. They're adding the salt, the pepper, that they're cooking it, that they're getting it from a certain place. You're not doing any of that, because you know and you trust in the restaurant's ability to deliver on what you order, right? That's the mentality that you also want to have with your manifestations, in terms of letting it go and allowing it to happen. And so this is where you place the order, okay? So like this, place order, and leave the kitchen. You don't even go in there. You don't even look at it. Like, why does it matter? The food is coming. Like, it's going to be on its way. It's getting made. It's getting done, so that here in the next 30 minutes or so, you're going to have your food. But you don't need to be micromanaging that. You don't need to be over, looking at the chef or the kitchen to make sure that they're doing it the right way, because the food is going to come out and it's going to be served properly. So this is how you do this in practice. Write down exactly what you want. Get super clear on it and get super specific. And then don't revisit it every single day with anxiety, or revisit it every couple hours, every few hours, and think like, man, I don't know if this can happen. I don't know if this is going to actually manifest. Don't do any of that, because all you need to do is acknowledge it, release it, and then move on to step 1 of your plan. So let's go to step number 2. This is the first L. Let go of the how. This is something that has served me extremely well, and sometimes to my detriment. I've always been somebody who always just believed and had certainty and confidence in my ability to figure things out. And I've always never really thought about, like, how exactly am I going to do this? So it's actually been a benefit to me in terms of just kind of putting in the work, putting in the effort, through knowing that it was all just a done deal. Like, I'm already this, I'm already an entrepreneur, right? And so I was always operating from that identity until the world actually caught up, right? And I attracted an actual business, all of that in terms of me allowing it to happen versus trying to figure out all the different moving pieces in terms of exactly how. Like, yes, I obviously had a plan and I outlined like how things should work, but I was never like set on a specific way that it needed to happen. Like it must happen this way, and A, B, and C need to happen precisely or else it's not going to happen, right? I was never really set on that specific method or way. It was more of, I'm an entrepreneur and it's going to manifest in a variety of different ways. And I'm going to allow it to manifest. And so ultimately here, this is where you let go of the how and just trust in the process, that it's all going to work out in your favor. It may not be exactly how you picture it, but it's going to be in that general direction. And let's go with the next one here, the next L, step number 3. So this is where you want to lower emotional resistance. Okay? This is the antidote to the emotional trying that we talked about earlier, right? Instead of trying to fake a frequency, this is where we're not trying to force an actual emotion here. We're very stable, we're very grounded, and we're very even keel and neutral first, right? And so think about it this way. Let me just give you a visual here. So we have a box, okay, a simple box, and it has 3 compartments, okay? So there's this right here, and then this right here. And I want to try to make this be even. So you have 1, 2, 3, okay? So I know the middle is a little bit off. Let me see if I can even fix this proportion, because we want to try to keep it proportional. Let's see here. Okay, let's see if we can get this proportional. So maybe like this. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, so the one at the top here, we have trust and ease. Okay, in the middle, we have neutral, calm. In the bottom, we have desperation and fear. Most manifestation advice tells you to jump from the desperation to the trust, okay? Like a massive big loop. But here's the thing. This is a massive loop, right? When you're trying to go from desperation, where you're fearful, you're desperate, you're anxious, right? This is a massive big leap that a lot of people just tell you to do. But here's the thing. When you can't make that massive leap, you begin to start faking it. And we know that faking it doesn't work. The real path here is when you're going to and from desperation to neutral calm, right? You can't go from desperation and fear to trust and ease. It's a massive leap. Like, it's like you're trying to jump across a massive long chasm, right? Like there's this massive gap and you're trying to just somehow jump across it like you're a superhero, right? Superhuman. But we need to be realistic. We need to understand what is the first step in terms of getting to a neutral state, so we can be aware, we can acknowledge, and we can naturally allow things to happen, okay? And practically speaking, this is really more on the nervous system work. You know, this is something where I love to do breath work myself, where in for a few seconds, hold, and then let go. When you do this for 3 to 5 times, this immediately calms you down and gets you to a stable, calm, and neutral state, so that you can just look at the picture and look at the situation for what it is with the calm mind. And here's the thing, you don't need to feel ecstatic. You simply need to feel safe, because from safety, trust naturally arrives. And from trust, alignment follows. You can't skip to the top of the board. You regulate your way up one step at a time. Okay, so let's go to step number 4. This is the O. This is where we want to observe from future identity. Okay? And so instead of asking, how do I become that person? You ask yourself, how would that person see this moment? It's a subtle but powerful shift because you're not trying to get to your future self. You're looking at your current life through their eyes. The future version of you who already has the business, the relationships, the freedom, how would they look at this situation today? Or how would they look at today? Would they panic about a slow month? Or would they see it as a quiet chapter before the big breakthrough? Would they obsess over view count? Or would they smile knowing that the work compounds? Would they stress about a bill? Or would they handle it calmly knowing that money flows? When you observe your current reality from the perspective of your future self, something truly shifts. The anxiety dissolves because from their perspective, this moment is just a stepping stone. It's not a crisis. It's not evidence that you're failing. It's part of the story that they tell when they look back and they say, that's when things started to shift. You don't chase the person, you look through their eyes. And the moment that you do, you start making decisions from their identity instead of your current one. So step number 5, this is the final one. This is the W. This is where you want to walk in alignment. Okay? This is where it becomes physical, where it becomes real, tangible. You see, allowing is not passive. This is super important here, and I don't want you to miss this, because allowing isn't just sitting on your couch and just hoping and wishing and daydreaming about your reality that you want to achieve. Allowing is taking action, but from a completely different lens, perspective, frequency, and energy. It's the difference between trying action and aligned action. So let's outline what this looks like. Okay, so let's have a little board here. Let's go right here and 2 sides. Okay, this is the trying and this is the allowing. Okay, this is action based. This is where you have desperate energy. Okay, and then the allowing is where you have calm clarity, like you know what exactly is going to happen and you're not worried about it because it is what it is, right? Whatever obstacle or challenge or roadblock that you're currently facing, And then another trying is, I have to do this or it won't work. Okay? This is another story you're telling yourself. Versus with the allowing, this feels right. Okay? I'll move toward it. Okay? And then this is where you're grinding from fear on the trying. And with the allowing, you're creating from purpose. Right? These are all the aligned. And then finally, this is where you are forcing outcomes through your trying. And then on the allowing, this is where you're following resonance. If something resonates with you, you do it. If you don't resonate with it, then you don't do it. It's very simple, right? It's either you're aligned or you're not. And let me give you a concrete example. 2 people are building an audience online. So they're building like a personal brand. Person A is posting every day with frantic energy. They're obsessing over their analytics. They're constantly refreshing their page. They're reaching out to different influencers that may not even be good fits for them, but they're doing it because they're desperate and they're just trying to find something to stick. This is the trying action where they're just trying to do so many different things that are misaligned. So it's high effort, high anxiety, but low signal. And so then person B posts consistently, but from a grounded place. They create because they have something to say, of value, and they check analytics once a week. They adjust and they move on. They say no to things that don't align, even if it means slower growth. They trust that the body of work will speak for itself. And so person A burns out in 6 months, while person B is still creating content 3 years later. And so walking in alignment is essentially taking action that your future self would take, but then also making sure that it feels good, it feels aligned, like it feels natural to you to take that action. There's no resistance there. Obviously, there's going to be resistance in terms of perhaps it's something new, it's something different, but that's just in the beginning. But more of like the future version of you, right, that you're embodying? Would they take this action? And if they would, then you're aligned. And if they wouldn't, then it's not worth doing, because that's where you're going to put in the trying effort. Okay, so now let's walk through the full application of this in terms of money, okay? And you can really connect this and have this be through in terms of any particular category of your life, whether it be relationships, health, wealth, right? Money, whatever that may be. And so I want to walk through the full application of this for actual money itself, okay? So let's go full application. For money. And so what I want to do here is I want to show you how this actually works in practice through this method, right? Through the A.L.L.O.W method. So you can see how this works as a full system. Let's say you're in a season where money is tight. Bills are stacking up and you've been hustling, you've been grinding, applying, pushing, and it feels like the harder that you try, the less that you actually get in terms of an outcome. So what do you do in this situation? So let's walk through the complete system. So step number 1, okay? You want to acknowledge, okay? Get clear on what exactly do you want, okay? And here, you don't want to just vaguely talk about, I want to make more money, right? I want to be able to provide for my family, right? With more money in my bank account. No, you need to get super specific here. I want to generate $10,000 a month creating content on my YouTube channel, talking to, I don't know, mothers or to single moms. I don't know, right? Something that you can get very clear, very specific on, okay? And you know exactly what that is. Get clear. Get specific, write it down, right? Put in the order and then leave the kitchen. And then step 2, okay? Let go of the how, right? Remember, we're trying to control every single little thing that happens, and that we are thinking of manifesting something and it needs to work out precisely exactly how we envision it. And the real truth here is that 10K may come from a variety of different places, okay? And maybe you have small different services or products that you offer that all lead up to the $10,000 a month, right? So when you can shift your lens to maybe expanding your box, right, the frame, then you're going to be able to see different things that are potential opportunities for you than if you were to just be limited to a small little box container that you set for yourself, right? So don't be fixated on the how. Allow things to naturally flow and happen for you. And then step number 3, this is where you want to lower, okay, resistance. Every time that you check your bank account and you get a tightness in your chest, that's the signal of resistance. Don't push through it. Don't paste an affirmation over it. Pause, breathe, right? Go back to neutral. Breathe in, breathe out 3 to 5 times for 3 to 5 seconds so you can reset your baseline to neutral. This is where you start to get back to grounding, to being grateful for what you currently have. I have a roof over my head. I'm alive and breathing. I have clothes, right? That's where you can get to natural baseline and start being grateful for what you currently have. And then all of that goes into the trust in allowing. And then step 4, this is where we want to observe from future identity, right? So when we think about this, that version of you that's making that $10,000 a month, how do they check their bank account? Do they have chest tightness when they see their bank account only have a few $1,000s in there, or even a few hundred? Or do they keep a neutral state regardless of how much money is in there? And how do they negotiate? Do they negotiate from stress, from anxiety, from neediness, or from confidence, from assurance, from certainty? And how do they spend? Do they spend with intention, or do they spend from scarcity, not wanting to do certain things because it's going to cost money, when they don't realize that money is abundant, and that when you spend intentionally and you're getting value for what you're spending, right? For your contributions, right? You're getting your money's worth. But spending from a scarcity state of mind and from a scarcity state says that I am letting go of this money, but I really don't want to, because I don't trust that more money is going to come back to me. And so what you want to do here is you want to start looking at your financial life from that future version of you. How would they think about it? How would they see it? How would they feel about it? And then finally, step number 5. This is where we are walking in alignment. Okay? Think about it. That future version of you who's already making $10K a month, what would they be doing today? What would their morning routine look like? What would their full day look like? Would they waste 3 hours doom scrolling on TikTok or Instagram? Or would they spend their time building something? Would they take a cheap shortcut? Or would they invest in the thing that compounds? Start taking their actions, small, subtle, powerful, not from desperation, from identity. And so this is the full allow method applied to money. And you can apply this to every part of your life: health, relationships, right? Love, fulfillment, all of that. Because the steps don't change, only the inputs do. Let me leave you with this. Trying is the language of the self that doesn't believe. Allowing is the language of the identity that already knows. When the mental noise quiets, when the emotional tension dissolves, when the identity relaxes into certainty, you don't force your manifestations. You meet them.